Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
And my great pleasure to welcome to the programme the Chair of the Waikanae Community Board, James Westbury. Good morning and welcome to you and welcome to the new normal.
Indeed. I'm not sure I'd like to call this the new normal, but as long as it doesn't go on too long.
Perhaps we should explain that James is in a 14-day self-isolation period. You've been caught, James.
I have indeed. I was recently in Melbourne, and the travel restrictions were kicking in on our return. And so, as a responsible professional, I'm adhering quite strictly to the self-isolation rules. So it creates a bit of a challenge. I'm unable to work in my pharmacy in terms of supporting the significant needs, but also undertaking my council responsibilities.
Yes.
We've done a lot of phone conversations and video conferencing.
Indeed. We do live in these fascinating times, and you've mentioned the pharmacy. Pharmacies, of course, always very important in our community, and I imagine even more so in a community such as Waikanae, which has got even more of a older person proportion than the rest of the district, which is twice of the country. So you've got a really needy sort of community that you serve in the pharmacy, James. These must be interesting and testing times for you and your staff.
Indeed, it is very challenging. At the moment, we're trying to ensure that our customers and staff are protected safe in terms of trying to, we've got a sign out the front encouraging members of the public, if they are sick or unwell with the symptoms of COVID-19, that they stay away from the pharmacy. They can request their prescriptions can be made up via phone, and we can deliver them and have, social distancing with regards to the collection and pickup of those medications. And we're also able to support individuals for their pharmaceutical consumables. If they would like, we can set up an account and dispatch those for them.
Well, that's an excellent service, and I imagine the delivery service is going to be extremely well patronised. But it's interesting, this, isn't it, in that I imagine that many of the people who go into a pharmacy, almost by definition, aren't feeling well. It's how do you know if you've got that particular bug or not, isn't it? Well,
that's the million-dollar question. The coronavirus in particular presents like any other cold, and then presents with more flu-like symptoms in quite severe cases. So it's using a fair amount of judgment. For those people who have been required to do a 14-day isolation, I'd strongly encourage them to stay home and ask friends, family, or use our delivery service. We're also trying to manage the supply of pharmaceuticals. As people have heard on the news, the supply chain for pharmaceuticals is rather fragile, with the vast majority of medication originating, or the origin, I should say, is from either India or China, which means that we will have some shortages at some stage, but in order for us to safely manage that, we really need to appeal to the public to continue to collect their medication as normal and not stockpile. Because if people start stockpiling their medication, we are going to have real concerns with regards to insufficient medication to provide people in future.
You bring up an excellent point, and of course from the patient's point of view, their instinct would be to ask the doctor for even more in the prescription and the repeats, etc., so that they can stock up, and you can understand that instinct as well, can't you?
Indeed, and the problem is when we do get into a panic situation, it actually disrupts the whole supply chain, because our supply chain's not capable of managing such huge peaks in demand. So it creates a significant issue. So for the sake of everybody's medication requirements being met, it's important that people just continue to do what they've always done and not panic and request extra medication.
Keep calm and carry on, as you should say in the Second World War. Does this mean this 14-day isolation period that you're in, does that mean that you will not be able to afford to attend the Waikanae Community Board meeting next week?
It does indeed. What I've got to do is teleconference in, which I did at our last meeting on the 17th.
Oh, dear, oh dear.
So I wasn't able to chair the meeting, but I was able to participate.
Indeed. Okay. So, as I say, we live in very interesting times. I should imagine that the library came up in discussion. Is there any progress there?
Indeed. Recently, we've had the Waikanae Library Project Advisory Group established. Now, that was established through a workshop with a number of council staff, including myself. At that workshop, the community board participated in the discussion and agreed that the membership of that group. What I'd like to ask the public is, following the community board agreeing the membership of that group, the Kapiti Coast District Council Chief Exec has taken it upon himself to say that my role as a business owner would create too much of a conflict of interest, not a pecuniary one where it's financial, but a perceived conflict of interest without any discussion with myself, which I feel a little bit disturbed about, because I feel I've got a lot to add with regards to the commercial and business aspects of how a library might impact our community. And I'm really trying to understand, how does the community feel about that? Because I would be, Margaret Stevenson-Wright would be the community board advocate, and I would be supporting the business community in that. And I'd really like to hear what our Waikanae community feels is an appropriate makeup of that group, and whether the chief exec has made the right call.
Okay, so the conflict that the chief exec sees is that you should not be sitting on that committee representing business while you are the chair of the community board as well. He sees that as some kind of a conflict, does he?
Indeed. And when you actually go back to the council's own policy with regards to managing conflicts of interest, that decision is normally made with the elected member in consultation with the chief executive, or in more challenging circumstances, you might talk through with the Auditor General. None of that occurred. So to make those decisions without consultation or discussion, I feel a little bit off par.
Okay, I can see that. So it's an interesting discussion. So the question is whether James Westbury, notable business person in Waikanae, of course Westbury Pharmacy, whether James can be a representative of business in Waikanae. You must be one of the bigger businesses in Waikanae, I would have thought. Is that correct?
I'd be one of the larger businesses.
Yes, indeed.
And don't get me wrong, I don't seek to have myself as the be-all and end-all, but I think I've got a lot to contribute, and I have the capacity to support the council in that fashion.
So you'd like to hear from the people of Waikanae, what they think about this?
Indeed. So if they would like to drop in their thoughts to the pharmacy, I'd be very welcome to hear those.
Excellent, James. Thank you very much for joining us. We wish you well, and don't go cabin crazy, all right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. There we are. James Westbury.
106.3 Beach FM.